Sir, license and registration.
Drop the phone. Any drugs?
Nah, man. Star, you okay?
All right, chill.
The movie opens with a father named Maverick explaining something important to his children, Star and Seven. He teaches them how black people survive in America, especially how to behave if they are questioned by the police for no reason. Even so, their mother reminds them not to forget that being black is an honor. They just have to understand their rights and protect their dignity. Star is 9 years old and Seven is 10, but they have already been taught the realities of their lives. As time passes, Star grows up and the family becomes a happy one. They live in an area called Garden Heights, a neighborhood mostly populated by black people. Maverick earns a living by running a mini market. He used to be a drug dealer, but he has changed his life. Star and Seven used to attend Garden Heights High School, but because the school was not good, their mother, Lisa, transfers them to an elite school in the Williamson area. Attending this school makes Star feel like she cannot be herself. She has to change how she talks, how she behaves, and even how she avoids conflict. At school, her best friends are Haley and Maya. They often defend her when other students bother her. Star also has a boyfriend named Chris, and they have been together for 6 months. He is the best thing she has at that school. However, many wealthy white students look at her with judgment, wondering why Chris would choose a black girl as his girlfriend. During the weekend, Star goes to a party with her friend Kenya, who is Seven's sister from Maverick's previous relationship. Despite that, they remain close friends. At the party, Star notices Khalil, her childhood friend. Khalil's grandmother used to babysit her when she was young. Since they haven't seen each other in a long time, they catch up and talk about their lives. Suddenly, a fight breaks out at the party, and a gunshot is heard, causing everyone to panic and leave. The party ends immediately. Khalil offers to drive Star home. While in the car, they continue talking. Khalil explains that he used to be poor, and when his grandmother got cancer and lost her job at the hospital, he turned to selling drugs to support her. This worries Star. Khalil also shares his beliefs, inspired by Tupac, saying that the hatred people experience when they are young can grow into anger and rebellion later in life.
Pac said, thug life means the hate you give little infants fucks everybody.
While driving, they are suddenly pulled over by a police officer. Remembering what her parents taught her, Star immediately places her hands on the dashboard so the officer can see them. However, Khalil is more resistant. He doesn't fully cooperate at first, and Star urges him to do exactly what the officer says. The officer asks Khalil to step out of the car. Star wants to record the situation, but is too afraid. While the officer checks Khalil, Star reaches for her phone that fell inside the car.
Star, you okay? Right?
Go back where he told you. I'm not playing. Go back. Just listen to him, Khalil.
Hey.
Seeing Khalil move, the officer suddenly panics and shoots him multiple times. Star is left in shock. Khalil was unarmed. The only thing in his hand was a comb. She becomes hysterical as Khalil dies right in front of her. After the incident, Star goes to the police station with Lisa and Maverick. She is questioned by Detective Gomez and Detective Wilkes. Instead of focusing on the officer who shot Khalil, they keep asking questions about Khalil's background, what he did, whether he was involved in drugs, and other details. Star's uncle Carlos, who is also a police officer, steps in and tells them to stop the interrogation. The incident leaves Star deeply traumatized after witnessing her friend's death. Maverick stays by her side, supporting her. Later, they visit Khalil's grandmother's house, where everyone looks at Star, knowing she was there when it happened. Khalil's grandmother is devastated by his death. Carlos and his wife also come to offer their condolences. At the same time, Chris contacts Star about their planned date, but she is unable to tell him what really happened. She says she can't come without giving any explanation. Later, Maverick asks what happened to the police officer who killed Khalil. They are shocked when Carlos says the officer has only been placed on paid leave. There will be a full investigation handled by the district attorney, but Maverick can already guess how the case will end. He believes the chances of justice for Khalil are very small. Carlos tells him that if he can't trust the system, he should at least trust him. At school, Star feels down. She wonders if she will be judged as an angry black girl if she speaks out about what happened. In the end, she chooses to remain silent and act as if everything is normal. Even when Haley asks questions, Star stays quiet because she doesn't know how her friends will react. One afternoon, Star and Kenya go to a cafe. While ordering food, they watch a news report about Khalil's death and the fact that he was killed by a police officer. The story has spread across the community and the media. Khalil's mother is shown demanding justice for her son. Kenya feels frustrated with how the media portrays Khalil's mother, believing it may be because she is black. Afterward, Kenya asks Star if she is going to tell everyone the truth. Star is still unsure, especially since her parents have advised her not to speak out yet. Suddenly, Kenya's father, King, arrives and tells them to get into the car. He is a powerful drug dealer in the area, and Maverick used to be part of his crew. In the car, King tells Star that he knows what happened to Khalil. He says that witnessing something like that is painful, but forgetting it is even harder. He advises her to move on with her life. After dropping Star off, Maverick speaks with King. They talk about their current lives, and King warns that Star should not tell the police that Khalil worked for him, or she could get into serious trouble. Before leaving, King indirectly tells Star to forget about the incident. At home, Lisa overhears Maverick talking and realizes that King is subtly threatening their daughter. She becomes worried that King might harm Star if she tells the police the truth about Khalil's involvement. Lisa suggests that they should move away for the safety of their family. However, Maverick believes King won't bother them, just like he didn't when Maverick left the drug world. It is the day of Khalil's funeral. As Star gets ready, Maverick comes to talk to her. Star shares her thoughts about how society often views black people with suspicion and how the system can feel unfair. Maverick explains that many black people turn to dealing drugs because they need money, but it traps them in a cycle. What seems like a way out of poverty ends up destroying lives and entire communities. Maverick admits he doesn't want his children to repeat his mistakes. He wants to be a better role model for them. While at the church, Star can't hold back her tears when she sees Khalil's body lying in the coffin. Everyone is present at the service, including King and his family. During the ceremony, the priest invites anyone who wants to speak. A woman named April steps forward. She is a lawyer from Just Us for Justice. She explains that the police have no real intention of properly punishing the officer who shot Khalil, even though there are credible witnesses. She calls on everyone to join a peaceful protest at the police station after the service. Her words energize the entire congregation, inspiring them to fight for justice. Before returning to her seat, she looks directly at Star, as if inviting her to take part. After the service, a group of people gathers, preparing to protest. Worried that the demonstration might turn violent, Maverick tells his family to go home instead. This disappoints others, who believe they should have joined. As Lisa predicted, the protest shown on the news quickly turns from peaceful into violent clashes with the police. The news also catches Chris's attention. Concerned, he calls Star to ask if she and her family are safe. At the same time, they have a visitor at home. It is April. She has come to speak with Star. April explains that Star's testimony could strengthen the case against Officer Brian, the man who shot Khalil. She says Star may need to speak publicly, on TV, social media, or even at protests. Maverick agrees, but Lisa strongly disagrees. She fears that speaking out could put Star in danger. Seeing the tension, April prepares to leave. Before she goes, Star shares a painful memory. When she was younger, her best friend Natasha was killed in a shooting involving members of King's group. Star knew who was responsible but chose to stay silent. Now, she is facing a similar situation again and feels lost about what to do. After hearing this, April tells Star that she can contact her anytime if she changes her mind. The next day at school, Star is shocked to find it closed. She soon learns that students have gone out to protest for justice for Khalil. However, what she sees disappoints her. Many students are using the protests as an excuse to skip class rather than truly care about the cause. Feeling frustrated, she calls Carlos to pick her up. He takes her to the hospital where her mother works. There, Star tells Lisa that she has decided to speak out for Khalil.
Mama, I need to speak for him.
That night, they go to a TV station with April. Star is interviewed with her face blurred. However, instead of focusing on her experience, the interviewer pushes her to talk about Khalil's background. Star reveals that Khalil was forced into dealing drugs under a man named King in Garden Heights. King and his family watch the broadcast at home. Realizing the direction of the interview, Star bravely shifts the focus back to the shooting itself. After the interview, the family goes out for dinner. While they are talking, Star notices King waiting outside. Maverick immediately steps out to confront him. Tension rises, but before anything escalates, King and his men leave when they see the police arriving. However, the situation doesn't end there. The police immediately accuse Maverick of dealing drugs and begin searching him, even though they find nothing. Despite Lisa showing Maverick's ID, the officers still refuse to let him go. This leads to resistance from the family. Star takes out her phone and starts recording. She insists that she has the right to record everything.
Put that down now!
I have a right to record this.
She's the witness.
Going to show everybody how y'all really treat us.
Let's go.
Eventually, the police release Maverick and the family returns home. Once home, Star apologizes, saying she should have stayed silent and never gone on TV. Maverick gathers his children outside and reminds them of their rights as black people lessons he has taught them since childhood.
By what means?
By any means necessary.
By any means necessary.
So why you gonna be quiet?
He tells Star that if she is ready to speak, then she should speak and never let anyone silence her. Later, while Star is at Maya's house with Haley, they watch a news program. The report discusses Officer Brian, but the narrative seems to favor his side. It claims that the area where he was assigned is known for violence, murder, and drugs. Brian's parents are also interviewed, describing him as a good person who is simply doing his job. Hearing this, Haley expresses sympathy for Brian. Her words leave Star stunned. She can't understand why Haley would defend Brian instead of Khalil, the same person she claimed to support during the school protest. To make things worse, Haley has unfollowed Star on social media because of her posts about injustice against black people. They argue, and from that moment, their friendship begins to fall apart. Another day, Star talks to her mother about the argument. She wonders why things changed, especially since Haley used to be one of her closest friends, along with Maya. Lisa advises her not to overthink it. She tells Star to forgive her friend and move on if the good in the friendship outweighs the bad. But if it doesn't, then it's okay to let it go. One night at prom, Chris brings up Star's TV interview. He says he recognized her even with her face hidden. He tries to understand what she's going through. But Star explains that her experiences, watching two of her childhood friends die in front of her, are beyond what he can fully understand. She also explains why her parents sent her and Seven to Williamson to protect them. She admits that she feels like she has to be two different people, one version at home in Garden Heights and another at school in Williamson.
Hey, y'all better not be doing nothing. I ain't playing.
7.
Later that night, Chris drives Star and Seven home to meet her parents. When they arrive, Maverick initially mistakes Chris for a driver.
You gotta tip the chauffeur.
However, Lisa already knows about him and welcomes him warmly. Maverick, on the other hand, feels upset that he didn't know Star had a white boyfriend. Chris becomes uncomfortable and decides to leave. Eventually, Star explains everything to Maverick. Suddenly, gunshots are fired into their house. It turns out to be King's men trying to intimidate Star because of her TV interview. Fearing for their safety, the family flees to Carlos's house. Everyone stays together, but Maverick insists on returning home to confront King. Seven goes with him. They wait there, ready to face whatever happens, as Maverick is determined to protect his family. The next morning at breakfast, Carlos talks to Star. He explains that some people don't see the situation as a crime, but rather as a situation that escalated badly. He says that officers are trained to react quickly if they feel threatened. However, Star is disappointed by his explanation. She points out that these standards seem to apply only to black people.
A white man driving a Mercedes. So if you saw him reach into the window and you thought that you saw a gun, would you shoot him or would you say put your hands up?
Put your hands up.
Do you hear what you just said?
The trial day finally arrives. Star is called to testify before a jury, most of whom are white. She remains calm and tells her story clearly. Another day at school, Haley approaches Star again, still unaware of her own racism. She claims that Star is different and not threatening, unlike Khalil, whom she labels as a drug dealer. Hearing this, Star becomes furious. She takes a comb from Haley's bag and asks if it looks like a weapon. Haley responds that it could look like a gun. That answer pushes Star over the edge.
Huh? Does it look like a weapon? You're on the ground. No! Don't move! Haley, look at me and stop crying. That's what it's like.
Chris steps in, trying to calm her down. Soon after, Star receives a message from Kenya saying that Seven has been beaten by King. Star and Chris rush to King's house to get him. Luckily, King is not home. His wife helps them and urges them to leave quickly before he returns. As they drive away, they see large protests happening in the streets, with people demanding justice for Khalil. People gather to protest at City Hall after the jury's verdict declares Officer Brian not guilty. There will be no further trial, and he escapes punishment. Hearing this, Star decides to take action. She tells Chris to take Kenya and her brother to a safe place while she joins the demonstrators. Before reaching City Hall, the protesters are stopped by heavily armed police. Tension rises as the situation becomes more intense.
Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Miss Ofra!
You ready to use your weapon?
Star steps forward and decides to speak in front of everyone. She reveals that she is the key witness and encourages the crowd, saying that their fight for justice is right. But no matter how loudly they protest, the police refuse to listen. The crowd, armed only with determination, begins to panic when tear gas is fired. Chaos spreads, and people are forced to disperse. In the confusion, Star helps Seven. They rush to Maverick's store to find milk to ease the burning effects of the tear gas in their eyes. Meanwhile, King spots Star from a distance and sees an opportunity. He orders his men to burn down Maverick's shop, hoping to harm Star in the process. Luckily, nearby neighbors notice the fire and rush to help those trapped inside. Maverick, Carlos, and Lisa arrive just in time and lead everyone out through the back door. As the situation escalates, King attempts to attack Maverick. However, an unexpected moment stops him. Seven, Star's younger brother, picks up a gun and points it at King to defend his father. Star reacts immediately, stepping in to stop the situation from getting worse. She fears that the police might shoot her brother. In that moment, she speaks out, making everyone realize how this cycle of violence keeps repeating. She insists that it has to stop.
THUGLIFE. This is it. The hate you give little f's everybody. The result of hate, it's not the hate you give. It's the hate we give. But we can break this cycle.
How many of us have to die before y'all get it?
After the incident, Maverick decides to rebuild his store. King is finally arrested for setting the fire, thanks to the cooperation of the local community. With King gone, Garden Heights becomes a safer place. Seven finishes school and prepares to go to college.